Hey, it's Joni. I just wanted to pop on here and share something that was on my heart today to share. I'm outside. It's windy. Hopefully you can still hear me, but it's been cold and gray and the sun is shining. The sun came out, so I'm outside taking advantage of it while I can. Anyways, we hear a lot about generational curses, and I was listening to a message earlier, and it got me thinking about blessings, generational blessing and inheritance. I know that my dad, who died when I was very young, his mom died before I was born, and she was very young. The stories, the incredible stories I heard about my grandmother and how she cared for people, and just one example to kind of give you an idea, my grandpa told me when, like at her funeral, people came to her funeral that no one else would give the time of day, but she would give them the time of day and talk to them and care about them and all that kind of thing. And that kind of love and faith, Christian faith and values, I definitely see were passed down to my dad from the stories I hear about him, and definitely his sister, my aunt. And I see it in my dad's side of the family a lot. I know that I have a great spiritual inheritance of blessing, but I've never really thought like, hey, that's something I can leave to my kids. I've always tried to be a good person, be a good Christian, be kind, love others, be honest, walk in integrity. But I've never thought about the blessing that is leaving for my children and grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and beyond. And that actually is the case. You know, there are so many things that I can think about and look back on, or at the time I thought, man, I am getting this favor because of the spiritual blessing, the spiritual inheritance I have from my grandparents. And I'm sure it goes back beyond my great-grandparents. And so I think it can be disheartening sometimes for people when maybe they don't, we're not all wealthy and can leave a big financial inheritance or estate to our children. But far beyond that is we can leave an inheritance of a blessing. When we walk in integrity, when we forgive people, when we sow seeds into other people, when we sow seeds into ministries, things like that, it is building a blessing for not just ourselves. We're not just blessed by it, but for our children and the generations to follow us. So, if you feel like you want to leave more than just a financial blessing for your children, think about how you're serving the Lord, how you're being faithful to be a light in this world. It doesn't always cost money to sow seeds. You sow seeds with your time, with your generosity, with just showing people care and love, and things that the way that you treat others is really how you will be treated in return. But also it's the whole what comes around goes around thing. And when you do that, when you're walking in integrity and you're living for God and you're doing those things for God, it comes back to you spiritually, and blessings and things like that. But it is also creating that inheritance of blessing and favor for your children and their children and your grandchildren and generations that you'll never meet. So you can change. It's never too late to change the inheritance you leave for your children. If you feel like you came from a background with of curses, you know, your family has generational curses. I believe every family does, but it's our job, you know, to be the ones who, when we recognize that, to be the ones to break those curses. Another personal example is after one of my family members' funerals, who died in an accident, still very young, I realized, like, there's a generational curse on my family for people dying young. And when I went to the funeral, and I traveled back home to my state where I lived, and I had my pastor in my small church pray over my family with me to break that generational curse. Some families have a generational curse of addiction or just really, really negative, just negative mindsets, negative environments, or poverty mindset, and all those things. Like, we have the power to overcome and break with God. So that was just something that has been on my heart today, to share, and I really hope that encourages you, because it made me, when I was listening to this message about starting a blessing instead of a curse, it really reminded me of my family that came before me, and I knew, like, I've known, like, man, these people, you know, it's because of them that I have this spiritual, or I have, like, favor with the Lord. I have, you know, there's just, I don't know how to explain it, but just blessing on your life. And like I said, it's very windy here. But like I said, you know, I feel like we have generational blessings and generational curses. We can break those generational curses, and we can invest and grow into those generational blessings for our children, our grandchildren, and those far beyond us who we will never even meet. So anyways, I hope that encouraged someone. I just, whenever God puts something on my heart to share and it's just burning, I know it's for someone besides me. Anyways, I hope everyone's having a blessed day. Yeah, I'm gonna go inside because it's pretty windy now and I don't want to get blown away.